sponsor, 1PPS Incorporated, is a security firm based out of Orlando, Florida, established in 2001. They are professional and knowledgeable of all facets of security, personal and business protection. Look them up. Check them out. Go to their website at 1pps.com. They spell it www.one-pps.com. Or you can go to their YouTube page. They have a YouTube page here also. It's One Personal Protective Services, and their model is one vision, one team, one mission. Nice guys, good guys, very professional. They're the best. Simply. Not my words, their words. Simply the best. I'm going to cover talk about 4 or 5 subjects, things that have been emailed to us at brliveonthemic@gmail.com. That's our email address. Just keep them coming. We're going to try to do the best we can. So the first thing we want to talk about is obviously the passing of the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali. What can you say about Muhammad Ali that wouldn't give him or his legacy justice? Wouldn't do him or his legacy justice? Muhammad Ali was an inspiration to all of us, everyone around the world. There's only a few people, I would think, in the sports arena that you can go to almost any part of this globe and somebody don't know them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's certain places and stuff that don't have TV or radio and stuff like that, so you really don't count them. But my top 3 definitely would be Muhammad Ali number 1, Michael Jordan number 2, maybe Tiger Woods number 3. And then if you want to put in a soccer player or something like that, you could do that. But for the most part, we have lost a king. We have lost a shining star. We have lost a great person, a great man. I'm not talking about the boxing. The boxing was pretty, the wins were awesome. The losses were crushing. But he was a lot more than that. So we want to give props to him. We want to say, rest king. Wherever you are, I know you're looking over us. Rest. We'll pick up the torch and we'll continue your work. I promise you that. I promise you that. So the second thing we want to go in is pretty much the real first story that we had is the Roots controversy. Roots controversy. Well, actually, not really the show itself, but the controversy that was drummed up when Snoop Dogg, the rapper, decided to make his opinions come across and basically said, "The heck with watching Roots. We tired of seeing the same slavery thing. The heck with that. Let's move past that. Let's put out something positive." Well, like I say, I'm about 85% in agreement with Snoop. I didn't particularly care for his verbiage using the N-word. I mean, hey, all of us of African American descent have used it once or another, I would think. If you say that you haven't, then you're the biggest liar or you're just a perfect person. But I just think it was used when it was used in this, what he was trying to bring out. I just felt it was a bad look. It was just something that shouldn't have been used. But that shouldn't take away from the fact of what he was saying. That, we have things like the hidden colors 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have billionaires that are African American and the president is African American and so on and so forth. So I think it should be a even kill. You cannot get away from slavery. So you cannot say, okay, well, we're just going to go ahead and forget it because, hey, yes, we're not in chains and whips and stuff like that, but African Americans are still dealing with a lot of things. There's racism. Racism is real, in this country. Racism is unfortunately, a lot of people are going to be pissed off that I say that, but racism is almost as American as apple pie, so we can't just say, oh, well, I'm not going to, it didn't happen, it was so long ago, so we shouldn't bring it. So in that portion, in that instance, I would disagree with Snoop and be like, hey, man, you put out both because there are kids, I'm 48, so I grew up with the old roots in the 70s, early 80s, but there are kids, white, black, yellow, brown, that really have no idea what this country's original sin was and why things are now the way they are. So I think that you need that in its proper context, and you need to bring it out and let it know, because Lord knows in certain states, they're trying to abolish slavery, that erase it from the history books like it's never happened. Like the state of Texas, we were not slaves, we were indentured servants. What the heck is that? We were slaves, kidnapped and brought over here. So I mean, just be real about it. This is just history. No, you don't want to dwell on the past, but unfortunately, a lot of things are go on now, especially in the news, racial incidents and stuff like this, to let you know that racism is real and it's still here, and an entire people is being affected by it. Now, hey, I can't really say, I'm not going to sit here and say that I, because I'm from New York, so that I dealt with racism all the time. You know what I'm saying? I mean, little subtle dabs and stuff like that, people holding their purse or anything like that. But the type of stuff that, people dealt with down here in the South, and other areas and stuff like that, and certain places in the North, I can't say that I've ever been through that, but I'm not stupid. I'm a historian. One of my mottos is know your history, and you need to know your history. So in that aspect, I think that, hey, you have to go ahead and talk about the past, good, bad, indifferent, and learn from it, because when you forget your past, it'll come back on you, and before you know it, we'll be in that situation again. So that's my 2 cents about it. Like I said, I'm about 80, 85% with Snoop. I'm getting tired of watching that also. I choose not to watch it, but I'm on a position that I don't really have to watch it, because the Roots series, I mean, that was a family thing. We sat down and we watched the whole original Alex Haley uh, production, and it's still vivid in my memory, so I don't need to see it again, and I'm not really one that goes to, well, want to see a whole lot of slavery. I didn't go see uh, 12 Years a Slave. I wasn't really even hipped on Glory and stuff like that. I know what history is, and I'm trying to push for, an even balance. And I think that's what Snoop was trying to say in his own way. I'm not trying to put words in his mouth. I mean, he said what he said. If you haven't seen his Instagram posts, it's all over the internet. So just you can do that. You can go in the search box and put Snoop Dogg roots, and it'll come up. So you'll see what the deal is. So that's enough about that. You know, drop a drop a comment in below in the section. Let me know what you think. Agree and disagree. It's fine. So we're gonna move on to a story that pretty much everybody would beat to death, but I've gotten a lot of emails and tweets about my opinion on the Cincinnati Zoo, the gorilla killing, murder. Some people say, euthanization, and I tell you, in the beginning, I was sort of pissed. I was sort of pissed. I was like, okay, because a parent can do their job, a silverback gorilla that, let me say, first and foremost, should have never been in captivity in the first place, but had to lose his life over another human being's stupidity, or just airheadedness. I don't know what you want to call it. But then when I saw the video, I sort of understood. I never saw, and I'm not a zoologist. I have no zoo degree. I don't like animals, really. I'm not an animal lover. But I never saw any malicious intent or malice or forethought within the gorilla during the entire video. He was playing with the child. He seemed like he was nurturing, maybe sort of curious. But I mean, when you talk about a 4, 5, 600 pound gorilla that has 3 to 4 times the strength as us, his play will kill you. I mean, I believe that that child was in danger. I truly do. So I really don't see there was any difference because I don't see if there's any way they could have did it because okay, a lot of people say, oh well, they could have tranquilized. Well, what if they had to tranquilize the or attempted to tranquilize the gorilla and the gorilla fell over and crushed the child, or uh, his initial reaction would have been to lash out and the child would have got struck. So I mean, imagine what people would have been saying. Imagine what social media, and network media would have been saying had they have done that. So I believe that their hands were tied and they had to do what they needed to do. Now, my issue is with the mom. Okay, my issue is with the mom, and I'm going to get on the racial issue because that sort of turned me off. Also, I don't think that her race had anything to do with it. It should never even been brought up. Why you have um, the father's um, criminal history up in an article, I have no idea. I mean, as far as anybody was told, or until we hear different, he wasn't even there. So what was his deal? I have a 25-year-old, and she was very, very, very excitable. She was in the cheerleading, she was in the karate. She was a very ambitious child. She done been all over. She done been to Sea World, Disney World, you name it, whatever. She been at zoos all across this country. I have never, ever lost my child. Okay? I mean, just think about it. Just think about it. What was she doing that she allowed her child? Now he's 4. I can even understand if the child was 12, 13. You just think that they got a little sense not to put themselves in that position or try to climb into the habitat. But this child is 4, okay? 4 in a zoo. What was you doing that this child not only got away from you, but climbed this, crawled under that, fell 10 feet, or whatever it was into the enclosure? What was you doing? What was you doing? And just reading from her interview, it was on Yahoo. It was on Yahoo, and she sort of lost me. She said that this is her quote, because her name is Michelle Gregg. She said that God protected my child until authorities were able to get help to him. My son is safe and able to walk with a concussion and a few scrapes, no broken bones or internal injuries. Okay, I'm with you on that. I, you know, I'm with you. I'm glad. Thank God. That the child was fine. Okay, but then this is when she lost me. When she says, and I quote: As a society, we are quickly to judge how a parent could take their eyes off their child. And if anyone knows me, I keep a tight watch on my kids. Accidents happen. End quote. First of all, that's an oxymoron. Okay? In one sentence you saying that people are talking trash about you taking your eye off your kid, but then on the following sentence you say, anybody that knows me, I keep a tight leash on my child. Well, obviously that's a lie because you didn't keep your eyes or a tight leash on your child because your child got into to a enclosure. Really? Really? I'm a, I'm sorry. It's her fault. It's her fault. And if there are charges or there are, monetary fines or whatever. Hey, sorry, she bought them. She bought them. That's your child. That's your child, your responsibility. Accidents happen. That wasn't an accident. An accident is you put him up on the let's just say it had an observatory, right? And the observatory cracked, and then he fell in. Okay, or he's leaning up against the rail like everybody else. The rail gives way, and then he falls in. That's an accident. That's an accident. You turning your back or losing track of your child, and your child falling into a pen with gorillas. That ain't no accident. Okay, that's ignorance. I'm texting, I'm yelling at other kids. I don't know how many other kids was in there. I read on I think it was MSN or maybe MSNBC when they were saying that she was um, taking care of other kids, or she was sort of her attention was taken off of the young one so she can handle some other kids. Well, I don't know if that's true or not. I wasn't there, but the fact of the matter is, now you also hear people saying that the child was saying that he wanted to get into the enclosure long before that. Well, if that's the case, then you should have kept an eye on him. Okay? You should have not only kept an eye on him, you should have snatched him up and said, look, shorty, if you get your behind in there, I'm gonna get you where you sit. Okay, so that's the way I grew up. Wherever you show your behind, that's where my mama got it. Okay? So I think she was just trying, she was hurt, people making assumptions and judgments and all of that type of stuff. And she wanted to lash back, but baby girl, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's your fault. Okay? It is your fault that happened. It was your fault. You keep your eye on your child. You ain't got to worry about that. Okay? I know one way, and this is the thing is, I'm going to leave it at this, on this subject. I know one way it would have never happened if you had kept your eye on that child or kept your hand on that child. Or you put the fear of God in that child and let him know this is something that he don't need to do. It wouldn't happen. So that's you. That's on you. Now let's get to the racial. I don't care if the parents was white, black, Asian, Latin, Hispanic. I'm sorry, Hispanic. Um, it don't make a difference. Okay? Why do people always have to make things racial? Call people all out their names and all that. Why? I mean, it's really, it just boggles the mind. It boggles the mind. You got, when it first happened, everybody was outraged that the gorilla was shot and killed, obviously. But then when they found out that the parents was black, oh wow, it done turned. It turned into a whole bunch of racial things. N-words was using, tar babies, all of this type of things were being used and thrown at these people. Why? I mean, really, why? I mean, where does all the hate come from? This is what I can understand. If somebody did something to you personally, okay, first of all, let me back up. I don't believe in hate at all. I use it very seldomly, and when I use it, I'll be like, no, I don't hate that person, or I don't hate this. I dislike this and this, that. Because to me, hate is permanent. Okay? Hate is that deep down, I can't stand your behind type stuff. Okay? But I just don't understand where all the hate is. And the majority of people who hate this way, nobody's ever done anything, that particular people, person, place, or thing, or whatever, that you quote unquote hate, most of the time never did anything to you personally for you to sit up there and say, okay, this person came in my house, raped my family, maimed me, this, that, and the third, stole everything I had. Okay, I still don't agree with the word hate, But I'm like, okay. But these people ain't never did nothing to you. So I just don't not personally. Like personally where you can sit down and say, okay, this person did me wrong. You hate this person because, and I've never understand, you hate a person because of the color of their skin. I mean, think about that now. Think about that. The color of their skin. Not the content of their character. Not the way they might have acted towards you or did you dirt. But the color of their skin or their sexual orientation. Really? I mean, we are the smartest beings on this planet. And you mean to tell me that's all we can come up with? I mean, we need to check ourselves. I'm not talking about just white people. I'm talking about white, black, or whatever. We all need to check ourselves and be like, look, I might not particularly care for you. Okay, well, then I ain't got to say nothing to you. But if your sole basis is I don't like that person because of the color of their skin, or I don't like that person because their sexual orientation, or hell, I don't like that person because that person got the job that I want, then you got an issue. You might need to check yourself. You might not need to be like, well, hey, you know, is there something wrong with me? And I know, so some people are going to be upset and put some crazy stuff down there. I mean, but here it's, keeping it real, telling the truth. It is what it is, So hopefully, the boy don't have